Hello, everybody. It is a kind of a gray day today in Greenwich, Connecticut, and it's wonderful to be on the air. I am sitting next to me this wonderful gentleman named James Naughton. Welcome, James. He is an actor well known in the world of acting, a close friend of Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. I have seen James in several different plays. I believe one of them involved Khrushchev, and ultimately, I think most people know you best for the TV show Planet of the Apes. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm still getting fan mail. 60 years later, yeah.
That's pretty cool. I love it. And you've had Tony Awards. You've done quite well. Two in your career. And I believe one of them is one of my favorite musicals ever, which is Chicago.
Yeah, and still going.
It's still going. So you sing and dance?
I wouldn't say I'm a dancer. Annie Reinking, who starred in the show when we opened it and who was the choreographer, when the other I was the only guy who wasn't a dancer in that company, playing Billy Flynn, the lawyer. And we're learning these things, and I'm about 48 hours behind all the other people on the floor. And they're looking at Annie going, is he going to be okay? She said, don't worry, Jimmy can move. He'll get it.
I love it. Oh, my God. She was phenomenal in that role. I still recall that.
Yes, she was.
So I happened to run into James Naughton in Whole Foods. I recognized him, and he was very gracious and spoke to me and said, yes, actually, I am James Naughton. And, of course, I've had, a little bit of a crush for years.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Rather fabulous. And anyway, I just welcome. So happy to have you on the show. And we kind of got talking about some things that are really important to you beyond acting and singing, etc. And they really have to do with some of experiences in your personal life. And I think these are important topics. And we want to kind of open up. And I believe this is an issue we need to address directly right now in Connecticut. So James, talk to me about why you said, yes, I really do want to be on your show.
Well, I'm actively, like for the last 7 or 8 years, trying to get medical aid in dying passed in Connecticut. It just got passed in New York a couple of weeks ago when Governor Hochul signed the bill after it had been sitting on her desk for several months. We're all very happy about that. And I've been involved in trying to get medical aid in dying, or a right to die with dignity, passed because I lost my wife to pancreatic cancer a dozen years ago. And one day, after 4 years of dealing with pancreatic cancer, she said to me in the morning, Jimmy, I don't want to wake up anymore. And having been through that experience, I became a real champion for allowing people, when they get to that stage, to take it, to make their own decisions. It's a personal autonomy issue. It's the same issue, basically, as the right to choose.
I'm deeply in agreement with you, and this is called medical aid in dying. It's physician assistant, being able to make a choice if your life is unbearable. And there are many states that have passed this. I believe it's up to 12, and just recently Governor Hochul in New York just signed the bill.
That's right.
Into law there. So Connecticut is one of the few states. So California, Delaware, Colorado, Maine, New Jersey, Missouri, and Vermont, correct. So you've been working to make this happen in the state of Connecticut. I believe you worked with Josh Elliott, is that correct? He introduced the bill. I don't remember the numbers of the bill, but it didn't really get past committee this past year, I believe. Is that correct?
Well, what's happened is, several years ago, the first time this was introduced to the legislature in Connecticut was 1994.
Wow.
The first time it was actually passed in the United States, it was by Oregon in 1997. We have had to go through the Public Health Committee, and we weren't able to get it through the Public Health Committee, and several years ago, maybe 3, we got it passed 22-9, so something had changed. And Representative Kristen McCarthy-Vahey from Fairfield.
She's lovely, I love her.
Yeah, she's a lovely woman. She had been against this bill, and she told me that it was the testimony of people like me who had gone up to Hartford, and it had changed her mind and her vote.
Very interesting. She's a deeply religious person.
Yes, I think Notre Dame, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe this is one of the big issues when it comes to this question for those who are Catholic or a Christian who don't believe in assisted death, but I believe those of you who have lived through that experience of coping with people who have suffered in this way. Your wife suffered 4 years, you said, from pancreatic cancer.
Yes.
Did not want to wake up anymore. And why shouldn't we allow our people to make decisions for what and how they want to end their lives?
Yes, that's right. And 75% of Connecticut residents want this legislation. That's a lot of people, 3 out of every 4. And I've talked to several of the legislators I know, and I say, isn't that a big number? And they said, yes, it is. And I said, isn't this supposed to be a representative democracy?
Yes.
And they say, yes, it is. So it's an idea whose time is way past, and we're going to keep trying.
Now, talk to me about what the possible abuses or the problems would be. And I believe there's a group of people with disabilities who are pretty vocal and against this bill. So tell me, how do we handle those people who have these different opinions?
There are 2 groups basically that have kept this thing from being passed. One is the Catholic Church, and the second one is people with disabilities. When I go up to Hartford once every year or 2 to testify before the Public Health Committee, in addition to those of us who are advocating for the passage of the bill, there are a group of what I would call professional testifiers. There are 2 women in particular that I can think of in wheelchairs with flags and decals, and they are against it. And the reason that they are against it is they say that they're afraid that people with disabilities could be pressured into taking their lives prematurely.
My goodness.
By whom? By someone who would benefit or profit from their demise, which is, by the way, a felony. So I wrote to the Secretary of State in Oregon a few years ago, and I said, have you encountered anything like this? And he wrote me back a letter, and he said, no, we have not had a problem like that at all since 1997. He said, the only problem we have with people with disabilities is, for some of them, they're not able to self-administer the medication. So he said they're against this law because it doesn't go far enough. It doesn't allow them the ability to take advantage of it. And all of these, pretty much all of the states that have enacted the law are following Oregon's example. It has to be self-administered. You have to have 2 or 3 doctors to say that you have 6 months or less to live, etc.
Okay, so there are really good guardrails. This law has been enacted since 1997. The first state was Oregon. There's at this point enough research to understand why it works for families and people who make that decision. Obviously, a very, very tough decision, but I'm very happy to hear that 2 to 3 doctors need to sign off on it, that it needs to be clear this person has less than 6 months to live, and that they can self-administer.
Yes, and you can't just be a depressed person who wants to kill yourself.
Right.
If there is one of the things that the doctors have to check is whether or not you've got somebody who's just depressed, and then they have to call in a psychoanalyst. And so there's a lot of safeguards. It hasn't been abused that we know of in all the states that have enacted it, and there's really no reason beyond...
Now, James, okay, anybody who might be tuning in right now, the show is Trevor and Friends. I am Trevor Crow. The show is brought to you by my business, trevorcrow.com. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. This is a rough time of year. If you need to talk to somebody, give me a call. Sitting next to me is James Naughton, a storied, incredible actor, director. He's a writer. He actually sings too, but he also has a mission right now, and it stems from his wife passing from pancreatic cancer and the desire to help people make decisions for their ends of life, which with dignity, with compassion, and to make it legal to be able to say, I've had it, I'm done, right?
Yes.
It's a very, of course, horrible, very difficult discussion and topic, but I think it's really important for all of us to be able to make that choice, just as you're talking about women or people who can have babies making choices for their body. I do believe that you should be able to make a choice to end your life if you are in absolute agony.
Well, hospice is a wonderful organization, but both my parents benefited from its care. But there are some small, very small number of people for whom hospice isn't enough. And the medications that doctors can give them aren't ending their pain and their suffering. And so this is for that small, tiny group. Let me read you something that Governor Mario Cuomo said in 1984 to the University of Notre Dame. These are all very thoughtful Catholics, Cuomo and the people at Notre Dame. Governor Cuomo said, the arguments start when religious values are used to support positions which would impose on other people restrictions that they find unacceptable. When should I argue to make my religious value your morality, my rule of conduct your limitation? He said it pretty well, and that was a long time ago.
That is well ahead of when these laws started to be enacted. And again, the way we can keep life going, of course, has evolved and changed over the decades. And we can keep people alive even in very unhappy circumstances at this point too, right? Because of medical advances. So do we have a number of how many people do avail themselves of this process in, sort of per year? Do we know those numbers?
It's a tiny little percentage. I don't have the specific number. But I mean, it's, most people don't have to go there.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. If in the states where it's legal, they can get the medication, it's sitting by their bed table. A lot of them don't have to use it, but it takes away the fear that they're experiencing of dying in great pain and suffering. So they have the medication, they don't use it, they die, and they're able to go peacefully.
So it's again having that choice.
Yes. But knowing that it's there.
And agency, and knowing it's there, you can make that decision.
Yeah.
Well, James, I'm so glad you're advocating for this. I am truly hoping, and I certainly, when we talk to Josh Elliott again, I'm sure he'll be back on the show, but I know that he's been a big proponent of this bill. So I want to pivot a little bit to something a little bit more fun, if you will, because I know that you had a close, very good relationship with Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. Could you talk to us a little bit about what that was like? Because apparently you guys lived like down the street from one another.
We lived about 5 minutes away from each other for about 7 or 8 years. And then I was cast to play the gentleman caller in a stage production of The Glass Menagerie, and Joanne was playing Amanda Wingfield, and Karen Allen played her daughter Laura. So we did a production at the Williamstown Theater Festival in 1985. And we did another production in 1986 at the Long Wharf in New Haven. And the closing night, I went into, I thought this has been a wonderful experience. It's going to be all over. And Joanne grabbed me and pulled me into the corner. She said, we're going to make a movie of this, and Paul is going to direct it. You want to be in it? So that's when I got to work with and get to know Paul. And we became friends and went all over the country doing all sorts of wonderful stuff, race cards and deep sea fishing and badminton and pool shooting and and just an occasional dinner or cooking a hamburger on the back grill.
He was such an amazing human being. He did so much for the community.
Yeah,
I was lucky enough to meet him once. I think I only said one word to him, which was, by the way, his blue eyes were to die for.
That's true.
I said, thank you.
Yeah.
Truly, like he's just brought joy and interest in humanity to all of our lives.
And he founded the Hole in the Wall gang camps.
That's right.
Which are now all over the world. And we have the first one up here in Ashford, Connecticut. And I've been involved. He took me up there while it was being built, and I've been involved with it ever since 1988.
Just incredible. So I happened to participate. The Westport Country Playhouse did a big fundraiser. Robin Williams was the MC. I haven't laughed so hard if you've seen Robin Williams do anything, he did this auction that just made people just cry laughing. I think somebody's paid $150,000 to have lunch with Paul Newman. I mean, I'll tell you, Robin Williams knew how to get money out of people. But you say you actually got to connect with him as well around the Hole in the Wall gang due to Paul and Joanne, right?
Yes. Robin came up to entertain at the gala at Hole in the Wall in Ashford. and he was pretty spectacular. We also used to do a big event that I directed, actually, in New York City at Lincoln Center for the Association of Camps all over the world. And Robin came to that, and we had Stevie Wonder and his band came in, Paul McCartney, Robin Williams. It was a pretty big event at the big theater down in Lincoln Center, and Robin was a wonderful supporter and friend to the organization for years.
It is incredible what Paul and his wife have done. Their legacy continues on at the Westport Country Playhouse. Now, do you have anything coming up that you're going to be acting in or working on?
I'm going to be at the Westport Country Playhouse next Monday night.
Monday night? Okay, what are we doing?
Which is the 12th. We're going to be doing what they call a script in hand production.
Ooh,
fun. We're going to be reading a play. Marcia Mason, Judith Ivey are two of the other actors in it.
Yeah.
Marcia and I did a play together, a Tennessee Williams play together in Williamstown in the 80s, Vieux Carré, with Richard Thomas.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so it'll be nice to be with and Judy Ivey is just a wonderful actress and is cranking away. She's something special. So it's going to be fun on Monday night.
I'm now going to have to put it on my schedule.
But before we have to sign off, can I talk about one other important
Absolutely.
and somebody that you know? There is I have two friends who have coincidentally lost their wives to pancreatic cancer just in the last year. And they're destroyed, and then they said, we want to do something. And I said, well, there is a clinical trial that I know about to try to find an early diagnosis for pancreatic cancer, because that's the problem with pancreatic cancer. You don't know that you have it until it's already stage 4.
It is
so
terrible.
It's lethal. And if we could find an early diagnosis for it, this would make a big difference. There's a doctor in Norwalk, Dr. Richard Frank. He's a hematologist oncologist who started a new clinical trial to try to find an early diagnosis. Because, and here's the kicker, he knew, and it's starting to show some really positive results. He knows that there is a very slight correlation between having diabetes, early onset diabetes for people over 50.
Oh my goodness.
Very slight, like 1% chance, 1.5%, and pancreatic cancer, that those people might develop into pancreatic cancer. So he's got people who would have that early onset diagnosis of diabetes. They come in, they get scanned, and they do a blood test once every 6 months. Over a period of years, that builds up a biobank.
Interesting.
Now, when that 1.5% of those people develop the pancreatic cancer, they can go back and look at the history of when a certain new protein popped up in their bloodstream.
Wow.
And that could become, quote, the marker for early diagnosis.
So if you want to help out and support this effort, I'm a big fan of Dr. Richard Frank. He is the chief of oncology at Norwalk Hospital. I am a personal friend with him, and he takes care of me as well. From a hemochromatosis standpoint, not cancer, thank goodness. But if you would like to support this effort, we would like you to go to nuvancehealth.org/giving, and you can put in Nuvance Hospital Pancreatic...
Norwalk Hospital.
Norwalk Hospital Pancreatic Care Research.
Pancreatic Cancer Research. Yep, that's nuvancehealth.org/giving. Then look for Norwalk Hospital and Pancreatic Cancer Research. And you can find ways to donate to the cause.
That is such a great idea. We love any way to develop diagnosis early stage as much as possible. Dr. Frank is an incredible person, a very important part of our communities, certainly help many, many people with cancer out. So you actually mentioned one other thing that you've been involved with, which is a short film called Come Sit With Me While I Die.
How's that for a catchy title?
That's a catchy title. I hate to end well, we still got a few more minutes, but this, again, back to important topics, but this is something that you've made and that you're going to be showing coming up soon. Is that right? Did you say Ridgefield? Where are you going to show it?
We're going to show it in Newtown. On February 7th.
Okay.
They have a speaking society, they meet occasionally. They're going to show our film. It's a short film. It's a 19-minute film. It's a 19-minute dramatic film in which a woman played by Maya Dillon, who's a wonderful actress, and her husband Boyd Gaines, who only has 4 Tony Awards. Only 4.
Wow.
Yeah, they're wonderful actors. She's dying. He's trying to take care of her. She wants to be able to let go, and their priest, played by me.
Oh, interesting. You're playing a priest.
Is against it.
This decision.
And the film is about his crisis of confidence and his crisis of faith, because he's trying to help them. He's been their friend and their pastor for 30 years, and then we're going to have a conversation about medical aid in dying.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I think this is a very important way to step into the conversation, really participate. I think we forget how important stories are, and acting and plays, etc., to really understand our process and who we are as human beings, and to really delve into really tough topics. And you have spent your life doing that, which is showing people the range of emotions, but also how do we discuss this? How do we show up differently for one another? And it's truly important. And what you've done is a beautiful thing. Many decades of really giving back to the community in all these different ways, James.
Thanks. Well, storytelling is what it is. That's what we do. People who make theater, we're in the business of storytelling.
Well, this show really truly is about our human connection, about learning and understanding one another, that there is policy and politics that are interwoven between all these decisions and our value system. And I really agree with this MAID, M-A-I-D. I believe in Canada they actually call that medical assistance in dying. And this is a bill that we're hoping will pass possibly this year.
I hope so.
You hope so?
How many times can we go to the well and just... And they're playing political games with trying to keep this from being enacted. Governor Lamont has said that he will sign it if we can get it to his desk.
Okay.
You have somebody here in Greenwich, by the way, who's against it, who's a legislator named Fazio.
Oh, Ryan's against it.
And I believe he's running against...
He is going to be running. He is running against Lamont.
That's something for people to know and to find out about if they're going to be voting from this district.
That's interesting information, and everybody just put a pin in that, because Ryan Fazio, as far as I'm hearing from James Naughton here, is against MAID, which is medical assistance in dying. So we've got to go to a station break. It's been delightful, James, to have you here. James Naughton, thank you again. We'll put in our social media where they can find you, go to these talks, even Monday night, catch you at the Westport Country Playhouse. So we'll be right back.